Hello everyone, and welcome to the Oracle and Apps Associates webinar, HR Analytics for Workforce Management. My name is Julian Troke. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing at Apps Associates, and I'm your host for today. So before we get started, I just wanted to share with you that we will have an opportunity for questions at the end of the presentation. And I would like you to ask those questions, if you can, through the chat window, please. We'll also be sharing with you after this presentation a copy of the recorded video that we are making from this webinar, as well as the presentation PowerPoint slides themselves. So let's take a look at the agenda for the webinar. We're going to start with just a little overview of the presenters. We're going to then tell you a little bit about who Apps Associates is and what our organization does for our clients. And then we're going to dive in with an overview of Oracle Analytics Cloud and talk a little bit about Oracle's strategy for BI and analytics. And then we'll talk about specific challenges that we've seen with our clients in the HR sphere. We'll then talk a little bit about these Oracle Analytic Cloud Services accelerators and what they are and how they help you to really understand your business very quickly. And then we'll have a demonstration, a live demonstration of the accelerator that Apps Associates has built for human resources. We'll talk a little bit about implementation and support for these accelerators, and then we'll wrap up with questions and answers. So let's start with the introduction to the presenters. Alec Verma has over 20 years of experience with Oracle. His specialist fields are analytics, platform as a service, and integration. And Alec has worked with us many times specifically around the analytics area, and looking forward to hearing him talk about the Oracle Analytics strategy. Miles Gilsonen has a long track record of implementing business intelligence and analytics projects. He's got a great reputation in the industry and has presented at conferences and been referenced in multiple videos talking about these complex projects and how he's helped to improve the customer's experience. So a little bit about Apps Associates. This company has been around for 16 years. We're a platinum partner with Oracle. We're a global company with operations in the US, Europe, and India. And one thing that's really important to Apps Associates is to build long-term relationships. We have a 16-year relationship with our partner Oracle, and we strive to serve our customers for the long term, and a large percentage of those customers have been with us for more than 5 and 10 years. And likewise with our associates themselves, we also encourage associate development, and we long to keep our people for a long time as well, because we find that's the best way to build their skills and provide the best services that we can to our customers. We have a mature delivery model with great certifications and experience, and we have particular experience, as you can see at the bottom of this slide, with Oracle Analytics. And we've been the Oracle Partner of the Year for Analytics and Platforms as a Service in 2016 and 2017. A little bit more about what we do as an organization. We have a broad portfolio of services. We do a lot of work with business applications, specifically Oracle applications like eBusiness Suite, JD Edwards, PeopleSoft, and also with other business applications like Salesforce. We have a large analytics practice, and that's what we're talking about today. We also do a lot of integration work and product development. And we have a large cloud services organization too. We work closely with Amazon Web Services, on cloud infrastructure, and we provide cloud managed services as well to our clients. So what are we doing with Oracle Cloud Applications and specifically Oracle Analytics Cloud Services? Well, we have a dedicated, experienced team that has done a lot of implementation and management work for our clients around Oracle ERP, HCM, and supply chain cloud, as well as you can see on the diagram, all of the other cloud applications that Oracle has developed and launched, including what we're talking about today, Oracle Analytics Cloud Services. So we've helped a lot of our customers to implement Oracle Cloud applications, and then we help them go on to maximize the benefit that they get from those applications through cloud managed services. And here's a broad spectrum of some of the customers that we've been able to help. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Alak, and he's going to give us an overview of the Oracle Analytics Cloud Services. So Alak, over to you.
Thank you very much, Julian. Very good morning and good afternoon, people who are listening from different parts of the world. And I'm so glad to be part of this seminar. And Julian invited me to talk about how things are evolving and changing. And as you have seen that in the past few years, it's a rapid innovation taking place in our business environment, right? And also, respond to change is very important, and that's the word agility. So the companies who are not responding to change probably will be a little bit behind the curve and not exist, right? So just a little bit of background. I'm based out of headquarters at Oracle in Redwood Shores, and I have been here for some time, so over 20 years, and seen the change, how the industry and technology in particular has really transformed. And also I co-authored, based on the technology landscape, a book called Creating Business Agility, how cloud, social, mobile, video, big data enable competitive advantage. So if you look that up, that has really defined different industry landscape and the use cases where respond to change is the key. And this is the word I'm trying to highlight in terms of agility and the business value. How analytics is also changing in terms of providing you that. So here, if I talk about semantic model, then enabling the users with self-service, and then providing artificial intelligence. So as Oracle, we have responded. We have responded very aggressively, and we have also changed and transformed all our offerings. So you may have also seen our autonomous database cloud service. We are talking about autonomous integration cloud. We are talking about autonomous analytics. And we are enabling users with artificial intelligence with chatbot technologies. And all of them are getting contextualized with business applications, whether you are using an HCM, financial cloud, supply chain, and what have you. All these are getting on cloud as a self-service subscription model, pay as you go, as you consume, and all of that. So if I'm really looking at evolution of that, enterprise model is really helping, and personalized analytics plus data visualization. And Miles from Apps Associate, he is going to demonstrate very contextualized business application on HCM and how you should be able to personalize and do data visualization based on the data model coming in from application. And then you should also be looking at how Oracle Analytics Cloud provides you the capabilities of data-driven insights, machine learning, AI-based. And three keywords I'll be highlighting today. It's not the reporting, it's not the dashboarding. What business owners are interested in? To have those prescriptive. How should I guide them? Guided, predictive, and what things are going to happen before it happens. They should be informed. So prescriptive, predictive, and guided, these are things which we are really working hard to enable our business owners, like CFO, CEO, business leaders, and what have you. So if you look back a little bit, and a few years back, as we started putting everything on cloud, right? And as Larry says, that we are completely on cloud, right from the bare metal hardcore hardware. So you can have infrastructure as service offered on the bare metal compute and as per the VM-based services. And then to support infrastructure, we have the strongest or the most rich portfolio of platform, which is starting from database cloud service, which is industry leader in database cloud service, and which is now autonomous. So people should not be worrying about patching, tuning, updating, upgrading, or what have you. We do all that for our enterprise customer, whoever is running any workload on cloud. And to support that, we are now giving a portfolio of platform as service. And now new SKU is PaaS for SaaS. So if you're having all SaaS applications, which is the third stack, which is software as service, any application, what we call engagement cloud. So in the engagement cloud, you have customer experience, you have marketing, you have sales, you have service and CPQ and whatnot. And then you have supply chain cloud, you have financial cloud, you have HCM cloud. All these applications need to be stitched together, need to be integrated together, need to be moved and improved to the cloud with all those integration services, or to also top it up with analytics cloud services. So those are the platform as service enabling, and we are the only company to provide you the rich portfolio of platform as service, and then obviously data as service, where you could see here how we are enabling our customers to enrich that. So case in point today is Oracle Analytics Cloud. And I'm personally very switched on and motivated to talk about how analytics or advanced analytics. Let's talk about advanced analytics is changing the life and the business health of any organization. Because unless you see the business from future lens, right? It's not aftermath, what has happened in the past, and we generate the report and tell them. But how proactively we can inform the business leaders, then we should be able to correct them, corrective measures, and also help them with some guided so that they can be hand-holded what they should do as per the business changes, right? So we introduced Oracle Analytics Cloud way back in 2014. It's a matured service on cloud, and we have clients across industries, financial, telecom, health, what have you, and we have 1,400 plus, and numbers are growing as I talk about, right? So you can see that we are present and supported globally on these services. So giving you a little bit of background of this, we have first standard edition of Analytics Cloud, which comes with data visualization and a space bundled together. So you have got data visualization service pack, a spreadsheet collaboration, and a space to cloud, all that enabled. And then you have also supplemented with enterprise edition, which gives you complete data lake capability with enterprise data modeling, reporting, and with OBIE data lake S-based bundle together. And then we are talking about data lake edition. So all these are available for deployment, and you should be able to use within your service as you get your cloud service, in terms of managed service credit. So here, all of those services available. And now, if I start looking at what are the trends in data analytics, and as I was giving a little bit of views and my thoughts around, data-driven disruption is happening across the world. New data sources is impacting our business. So if I talk about social media, we all aware of that how social media is impacting business, and no one can ignore that. If I'm talking about machine data, device data, and sensors data, they are also coming into our manufacturing or in our any supply chain applications. If I'm looking at some of the voice data, all data record, all they are going to be harvested and analyzed for your business analysis. So those cannot be ignored. And gone are the days when we were giving you baked-in, built-in reports on any application, and that's good enough. But these applications has to be supplemented with some additional source of data, which is not necessarily coming in from your online transaction processing application, which is stored on your database. So they have to be pulled in from different data sources, and that's where we are helping with data lake and AI ML capabilities. Then we talk about all of those deeper and relevant insights. How can we help you with deeper insights, connecting people, machines, and data? Expanding that with conversational and interactive data, as I mentioned, call data record or chatbot technology, and then providing you data-driven insights, because end goal is not to deliver the report or dashboard, rather insights which is hidden in the treasure and which should be highlighted to the business owners. And then how can simply be data visualization? How can I really paint or visualize based on your interest or in terms of your requirement? And that could be personalized data visualization. And you should be coming in from different data sources and also having those model baked into your analytics. So we are providing mostly with all business applications, business processes, and data model from there, which you can be able to build your own analytics. So data visualization packs are available for most of the application which can be utilized, and I'm sure Miles would be more than happy to demonstrate that capabilities. And then we are talking about advanced analytics and machine learning algorithm. So we recently acquired datascience.com, which enables us to provide all those advanced analytics or machine learning algorithm to enable you for advanced analytics capability. And then proactive and personalized. So it's not that users should be waiting that what reports are available. Rather, they should be proactively given that insight that there's something going wrong here, or some alerts-driven insight which they can be able to deep dive, drill down, and see what's going wrong with their business. And these are all built once, run anywhere. So once we deploy this, you can run on cloud, or you can run a hybrid model, or you can run on-prem. So Oracle Analytics Cloud is available in all different flavors, and it's available. You can see here on the cloud, we are supporting on different cloud environment, and it could be supporting on based on hybrid deployment as well. So you can build on-prem, you can deploy on cloud, and you should be able to go back and forth based on the business requirements. Now, if I really examine and describe a little bit of the use cases, the first part is move and improve. How do we improve our current applications? So some of the current applications which we have, financial cloud or HCM cloud, supply chain cloud, and customers are moving to cloud for move and improve from on-prem to cloud. And once they move on those applications need to be integrated with our application or analytics cloud. So once those are integrated, you would also like to have the data model, which should be unified data model for their analytics. So you can lift and shift all those OPI, RPD, and take it on the cloud. You should be able to take all S-based applications and take it on cloud. So those are the new opportunities. Move BI workload to cloud without moving data. Bring your own license to simplify and accelerate cloud advantage. Easy to develop all those data models. So all these are some use cases for move and improve. And then I talk about new strategic use cases. What are traditional analytics? We are extending BI with data visualization. So ultimately, all those built-in reports which is coming in financial analytics or in financial cloud, HCM, those are good for all existing data model. But if we need to extend those capabilities, you should be able to use Oracle Analytics Cloud, leveraging those data model and integrate with some other data sets coming in from data lakes, and then extend those. So you should be able to extend with some newer data source for predictive model. model. And then analytics for SaaS applications. So any SaaS application, if you have, we are giving you adapters. So you can extend SaaS with data visualization and all of that. So let's say big data analytics. So we are having the big data machine or big data analytics capabilities with Hadoop Spark, and also to extend with no SQL capabilities. So wherever we have those data workload which we need to capture and annotate and process, Cloud Analytics, Oracle Analytics Cloud provides this capability for extending those data visualization based on the data sets coming in from various data sources. And these are basically compelling for our business leaders, because they need to have unified analytics. They don't want to have piecemeal solution here and there, but they need to have access anywhere on your pervasive device based on unified data models across their workload coming in from SaaS, on-prem application, big data workload, and all together with simple powered users can do custom-built analysis based on that. So it's also coming in with enterprise data analytics. You can be able to do MOLAP, multi-dimensional online analytic processing, or data visualization capability with personal data visualization. And purchase option is so simple. It's all OCPU-based, metered subscription, and as MSP, as apps associates, they will be able to provide you all those based on managed workloads. So under their cloud credit, they should be able to deploy your analytics cloud as well based on the workload which you have. So with that, you can see all those demo URL which is being available for your access, and you should be able to look at that. So you can always have those sales plays and look at the demo packs available on our URL, and you can get yourself fully familiar with what we have to offer. And now I'm more than happy to hand over back to Miles, who is going to talk about how HR organizations are leveraging Oracle Analytics Cloud for the benefit of that. Back to you, Miles.
Okay, thank you. So let's get started talking about some of the challenges facing HR organizations today. I would say now more than ever, executive management is looking for a strategic partner. They want HR to help grow the business, increase revenue, and be aligned with strategic goals. There's been unprecedented change in the workplace in the past 10 to 15 years. The way that people work has changed dramatically. There's much more remote work, there's job sharing, there's more contingent workers, people are bringing in their own devices, there's more expectations from the workforce these days regarding training, opportunities for advancement, benefits. There's more mobility. It's easier to move between jobs. The recruiting processes are very different. We didn't used to have LinkedIn and Indeed and all that. So it's really the job of HR to provide a strategic vision to executive management about how to navigate these uncharted waters. But to do that, to be a strategic partner, HR needs access to timely and accurate information. Now, unfortunately, the typical HR organization today is characterized by a mix of systems to cover the entire HR function. Some of these might be on cloud, some might be on-prem. It's not uncommon to see different systems for recruiting versus learning management versus, say, performance or core HR. With all these systems, HR is posed with a fairly significant data integration and analytics problem. And all too often, HR has to spend too much time bringing all this data, making sense of it, and then providing management with information. But it's difficult to be responsive and proactive, and even much more difficult, as Alok said, these days, to be predictive, to align with executives and give them a view of where things are going from an HR perspective. So we've been working with our clients to help them move up the analytics maturity model curve. So first, when it comes to an analytics maturity model, we have to say that we believe in the importance of operational reporting as well as strategic analytics. We know it's important to have access to core transaction detail, and we've used that principle in the HR Accelerator that I'm about to show you. But of course, we've got to move past operational reporting into strategic analytics. And by that, I mean management analytics, where we've got KPIs and metrics that are aligned with strategic goals, where we're doing cross-process and functional analysis across the whole spectrum of HR activities, and we're able to understand the effectiveness and efficiency of the HR function, and increasingly predictive analysis to get ahead of the curve and give executive management a view of where things are going to go, and even how our workforce might change in the very near future. So I want to talk about a real-life example, a case study of how HR analytics had a positive impact on the HR organization, and in particular, we want to talk about the role that OACS and our apps-associated Accelerator played in that benefit. So first, let's talk about the situation. So this customer is U.S.-based. They're a global financial services company, about $1.8 billion in revenue, so a fairly large customer. They implemented Oracle HCM and Taleo, and they started to use the inbuilt reporting functions in those applications. And they found that those were really not sufficient to meet their reporting needs, and they were having difficulty integrating the data from Cloud HCM and Taleo. So they were doing what a lot of folks do. They were using MS Access and Excel. And it was just taking too long and not letting them be the responsive partner that they wanted to be. So they decided to implement OACS as their enterprise reporting solution, and after some dialogue with us, decided to go forward with our HR Accelerator. A couple things that attracted them to both. Our HR Accelerator has pre-built integrations from Oracle HCM and Taleo into Oracle's database as a service, where we have a pre-built data model for an HR data warehouse. So they liked getting that kind of right out of the box, shall we say. Also had pre-developed reports and dashboards. So fairly quickly, they were able to realize some significant benefits. First, they replaced all their manual processes and allowed them to be more responsive. They were able to implement a very robust security model, which was one of their key requirements. It is HR data, and it is in the cloud, so security must be ironclad, and it was. They were able to improve self-service. So it was another key requirement. They wanted their end users to have access to the data and to be able to create their own reports and analyses, and we were able to achieve that. And two other important things. They were able to do analysis much more quickly. When they got a question, they were able to get that answer back much more quickly because the information was now at their fingertips. And what they had done in implementing OACS and our Accelerator was implementing a scalable platform. It's much easier to scale up in the cloud if their volume of data grows, which we know it will. So now they can continue to move up the analytics maturity curve even into predictive analytics. So you've heard me mention this OACS Accelerator many times. Now it's time to talk about what this actually is. So what this is a pre-built analytical application, in this case for HR. And I'm going to work from left to right. It has all the pre-built components that you would expect in an analytic application. The first on the left, we've got pre-built ETL, extract, transform, and load extraction scripts to pull the data out of Oracle ERP, HCM, even Taleo and Workday, already pre-built. And that normally takes a lot of time to get into those systems and to bring that data out and to integrate it. We've also got a pre-built data model that we instantiate in the Oracle Cloud Database. It's optimized for reporting, another big effort that our customers don't have to do. Then we've also got the reporting metadata. That's the logical layer that allows the OACS reporting engine to access the underlying physical table, so we've already developed that. And we've developed a set of reports and dashboards, all built on the Oracle Analytics Cloud. So what this means is it's fast time to value, so time savings, and importantly, cost savings. Huge cost savings. If a customer were to sit down to build this from scratch, it would be much more costly. And these days, building all this from scratch, we just don't have time for it. We're much more in assembly economy these days. So when we go to a customer and we implement this accelerator, typically within 2 to 3 weeks, they're looking at their data in these dashboards in the cloud data warehouse. They're not in production yet. They haven't done full validation. They probably don't have all the reports they need. We're not clairvoyant. We don't know all their needs. But they are looking at their data in HR reports and dashboards in very short order. That's often well received. All right, now we want to give you a sense of what accelerators we have built. I've just talked about HR. We also have accelerators for finance, procure-to-pay, supply chain order management. We also have Accelerator that automatically integrates budget and forecast data from Oracle's PBCS application into our finance accelerator, providing a full financial analytics solution. And all of these accelerators share the same data model. So today I'm going to talk to you about HR, but people that implement our HR accelerator later, using the exact same data model, can tack on finance, procure-to-pay, et cetera. So each accelerator provides roughly about 35 reports and 5 dashboards. After many years of doing analytics applications, we have found the same reports used over and over again for each of these functions. Although many customers have more reports than that, we use the 80-20 rule and really focused on the reports we almost know for sure will be required. Each accelerator has roughly 100 or so reportable fields, comes with a pre-built data model with some pre-built security. Mobile comes directly with OACS. It's not really a function of our accelerator. OACS is right straight away mobile. So what I'm showing you today, if you wanted to see that on your iPad or your iPhone, you could do that as well. Excel upload capability, of course, and we do provide some training. Now, from an integration standpoint, we've invested in integrations from the key on-premise applications, so PeopleSoft, Oracle, EBS, and JD Edwards. We've pre-built the integrations to take data out of ERP Cloud, take data out of HCM Cloud and PBCS. We've also invested in other cloud-based applications like Taleo, an Oracle product, of course, but some non-Oracle products like Workday and Salesforce. So now we want to take you through the architecture for the HR Accelerator. This slide is purposely simple, not too many lines, not too many boxes. It gets hard to understand those kind of slides. So working from left to right, we're pulling the data out of the on-premise or cloud-based systems that I've mentioned. We're using Data Sync, which is one of Oracle's recommended data integration platforms. It's a lightweight tool that does transformations and scheduling. We can also use Oracle's data integration platform cloud as well, if that's desired. We're using Oracle's database as a service. That's where we instantiate our pre-built multi-subject area data warehouse. And we're using Oracle Analytics Cloud. That's where we've created the reports, the dashboards, and the visualizations. So when we implement our HR Accelerator, all of this comes. Okay? Now I'm going to switch over and do a demonstration of the HR Accelerator. And this is a live demo. This is reporting against data that's in the Oracle database. This isn't running against, say, an Excel sheet or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to start out with our talent acquisition dashboard, and I'll start out with our summary page, and I'm going to take the perspective of a level 1 manager by the name of Peter Apt. And, you know, Alok mentioned that the trend is towards personal analytics, and we're supporting that. They say, you know, all politics is local, and, you know, it really helps when people can get information about their organization and their people. So I'm taking the perspective of Peter Apt. And first I want to make a comment on the structure of the dashboard. You're going to see this on a number of the dashboards coming up. We start off with performance tiles. These blue squares are performance tiles to give a kind of an at-a-glance view of the current state of affairs, and then we go into some key metrics. These performance tiles are all configurable. When we implement out a customer, one of the first things we do is talk about these performance tiles, confirm whether they're the right ones, and even if they are the right ones, we go through the calculations to make sure that they're accurate in accordance with the calculations of the customer. So we're going to take a look at Peter Apt, and we're going to see 84 positions that are in sourcing, 1 position that's been approved, to be approved, excuse me, and 1 that's been approved. So 85 in sourcing and approved. And this particular metric, percentage age, this is a binary metric. An open position is either considered aged or not considered aged, and that's after being open 50 days, it goes into the aged category. So that's a metric that we want to minimize, and at almost 31%, that's a bit too high. And average days open, you can see, is 55 days. So these are all drillable. I'm not going to drill on all of them, but in the interest of time, I'm going to drill on this one. So I can drill down and get a lot of good detail on all 84 open positions. And even this is not static. So if I wanted to, for instance, to move business unit over and sort on business unit, I could do that. If I wanted to remove some columns, I could remove columns. If I wanted to export to Excel, and we don't necessarily recommend that because the online tools are getting so good, but generally speaking, people like to know that they can export to Excel, and that is, in fact, very easy to export to Excel. So I'm going to turn back now. So if I'm Peter, maybe I got a call from my boss and basically saying, hey, Peter, 84 open position, that's a lot. Can you talk to me about where those are and how you're doing with them? So if I'm Peter, I might go take a look at my aging, and right straight away, I'm going to want to drill down on 90-plus days. Those are clearly problematic, and 51 to 90 is not much better. So I've got some work to do there. I want to look through where my open positions are. Maybe I have some performance objectives related to my use of high-cost locations versus low-cost locations. And I also want to see where my candidates are in the flow. And this is an important aspect. So we have defined a flow for talent acquisition, and we are able to report on where each candidate exists at any point in time within that flow. So the flow you can see here, we start off with recruiter review. If the application gets past the recruiter, it goes to the manager. If the manager approves, we proceed to an interview, or perhaps multiple interviews. If the person gets past the interview, then there's an offer, pre-employment checks, and hire. We also keep statistics around those that are rejected during recruiter review, in other words, never get to the manager, and those that are rejected at further points down the process. Working along, if I'm Peter Apt, I'm probably going to have other managers reporting to me, and I can get a look here at my level 3 managers. So I can see the manager is Bob Boyle here with the most open positions, so maybe I want to follow up with Bob Boyle and see what's going on there. Importantly, I can see open positions by recruiter. Might want to log a call to a couple of recruiters and see how things are going, see if we can speed things up a bit. I can see by location and cost distribution, and also by business unit. And then also all of these can be seen by pivot table. Different people have different preferences. Some like to see pivot tables. This is inbuilt functionality with OACS. So that's a summary of pretty much all the information around open and filled positions. Now I'm going to dive in on open positions, and I'm going to take the perspective of Bob Boyle. So let's say, Bob got a call from Peter, and Peter said, hey, Bob, you got a lot of open issues here, open positions. What are you doing to close them out? So if I'm Bob, and I don't want to get in trouble, I'm going to go to my dashboard and see how things are going. So I'm going to see 34 positions open and one that's been approved and will shortly be in sourcing. So I've got 35 total, which is probably a lot. Good news is, if I'm Bob, only 7 of them are considered age, so the vast majority are below 50 days. I can see that in total, these 34 positions or 35 span about 32 requisitions, and I've got 5 requisitions on hold, which may or may not be okay. I probably want to drill into those recs and see which ones are on hold. I could take a look at my open positions by location, by business unit, and cost distribution. Similarly, by recruiter. So I'd probably want to log the call to Jackson and David Buckley. They're the 2 with the most open issues. And we also provide some statistics for Bob by status and other important dimensions. So status, there are 3 statuses. The number of positions to be approved, so they're not approved yet. Positions that are approved, not yet being sourced. And then open positions. Those are actively being sourced. So first we can see by location by that status. We can see by business unit by that status, by cost distribution by that status, by recruiter, and of course for Bob. So lots of good information there. Now we mentioned that we took the principle of bringing over detail, transactional detail, and making that detail available. And you can see here at the bottom of the chart It's just a table, but it's giving good detail at the requisition level. So for each requisition, it'll talk about the number of positions that pertain to that requisition, how many have been filled, how many remain to be filled, and it will give information about all the candidates and where they are in the process flow. And then some good information about rejections, and also some good information about diversity. So Bob is going to be well equipped to respond to his manager about what he's doing and how he can speed up. Now we're going to go to filled positions. Let's go back to Peter Act. And, you know, everybody's got a boss, and that includes Peter Act. And let's say Peter Act boss called up and said, you know, you've got 84 positions open. Are you really moving on this? So if I'm Peter, maybe I want to make a case that I've got a lot open, but I filled a lot. So I'm going to go in my filled positions and see that I've filled 45, and I recently had 8 offers accepted. So about 53. So about 53 positions filled this year, which I can make the case that that's pretty good. And then I can go through and make sure that those filled positions are in line with where they're supposed to be filled. So that I can do that by business unit, by location and cost distribution, and by recruiter. I can also, because this is a trend, now this is showing data from January through April, you know, I can make the case that, you know, it took me a little time to ramp up, but I'm on the upswing with 18 in March, down a little bit in April, but generally speaking, you know, I've hit my stride and I'm really moving on bringing these people in. The other aspect here that is very important is the source of the applicants. So we have a breakout here. You can see that Peter's not doing bad. He's got 10 that are internal. I know that a lot of companies really try to minimize costs by, you know, having internal people apply for jobs. But still, obviously, you have to go external, and this will outline where the applicants are coming from. The same thing here, so we want to give the detail. So we've got some really good detail around the candidates that have filled those positions. These are it's test data, so you're not going to see real names here, but you'll see good information, requisitions, job codes, hiring managers, and also some good information about diversity. Okay. So that's the talent acquisition. Now I'm going to jump over to the human resources dashboard. And this is where we look at very important core HR information, where we get all the information about our workforce and the profile of our workforce and how our workforce has been changing and is changing. So we'll go through the headcount dashboard, then we'll go through the termination details. We'll talk about what we have for turnover, and then talk about trends. So for headcount, I'm going to go ahead and take the perspective of Margaret Wilson. She is a level 1 manager, and as such, she will tend to have a global organization, most likely, and have people reporting to her across the globe. So if I'm Margaret, I'm going to go here, look at my performance styles, and first see employees and contingent workers. For a total headcount of 42, 0 open positions and 0 hired count. Now, as I mentioned, these performance styles are configurable, and we configure them when we first go to a customer. And headcount is one of the main ones where the calculation processes vary across customers. Different customers have different ways of calculating headcount. Many of them have multiple ways, but they have a primary way that should show up on dashboards. For instance, sometimes the primary view excludes interns or includes interns or excludes contingent workers. Sometimes the cutoff date is different. Sometimes it's a calendar cutoff date, the calendar end of the month. Sometimes the preferred cutoff is, say, the financial close, 3 or 4 or 5 days in. Sometimes you have to have both, and you need to know the difference. So we know that that's tending to be an item that we have some dialogue with the customer and wind up configuring. So I know for Margaret, I'm going to take a look through and look at cost distribution and location. So let me take a look at cost distribution. Now I'm going to see that the vast majority of Margaret's organization is comprised of individual contributors in a high-cost location. Perhaps Margaret inherited this organization, and she very quickly finds out that maybe she doesn't have the most cost-efficient distribution of the workforce. Maybe she wants to take some action on that. over here is the same information, just in a tabular format. Then there's some other important workforce profile information that is important to have handy. And in this section, it's going to be by region and another dimension. So this is going to be by region and generation. So we've got baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y. I'm sure millennials will be coming soon. By region and tenure, which is very important, region and gender, and region and ethnicity. And then continuing along with some more breakouts, this is going to be by management level along with another dimension. So by management level by cost distribution, as we said, we can see that her workforce is individual contributors in a high-cost location. See by gender and by generation. And lastly, we can see by location and job family. Okay. So now I'm going to switch over to termination details. And this is another really vital way of looking at a workforce and trying to understand the health of that workforce and the health of the organization. Involuntary terminations are a necessary fact of life. Voluntary terminations are also fact of life, but they are costly. And most organizations try to minimize voluntary terminations. In fact, that's a lot of where the predictive work is being done these days, to try to predict people that are becoming dissatisfied and starting to look, especially the high performers. So we try to give some real good insight into both voluntary and involuntary terminations. So I'm going to take the perspective of Stanley Howard. He's another level 1 manager, and see how he's doing with regard to his terminations. Okay. So the date range here, which is a prompt and is configurable, this is all of 2017, from January 1st, 2017 through today. So it looks like Stanley's doing pretty well. He's got 4 overall terminations, 3 voluntary, 1 involuntary. So we'll take a deeper look at that. We'll see that 2 of those were executive directors from Dallas. 1 was a managing director from Dallas, and 1 in Pune. Now, in this section, we focus on voluntary terminations only. So we talked about how important it is to minimize voluntary terminations. So we really want to shine a light and slice up voluntary terminations to understand. So first, by tenure. So we can see Stanley's lost a couple of 16 to 20-year people. So there's a lot of value in those. Might want to take a look at that. All the voluntary terminations in Stanley's organization have been female. Maybe a coincidence, maybe something that should be looked into. And from a generation standpoint, 2 from Gen X, 1 from Gen Y. Then we switch gears a little bit and look across both voluntary and involuntary. So at a glance, you can see here, the 1 involuntarily is male, voluntary was female, as we mentioned, and overall. There's a split, 2 and 2, between Gen X and Gen Y. Also, we can see voluntary and involuntary by location and job description. And lastly, by business unit. So lots of actionable information there, again, at a personalized level, so that people can take action in their own space. Okay. So now we're going to go to turnover, and what we've done here for turnover, turnover is one of those metrics that really has a time dimension to it naturally. So what we've done is we've shown a year-to-date percentage for the turnover, and we've also calculated a projection. And right now it's a run rate, basically saying if this run rate were to continue, here's what you'd be looking at as a percentage of turnover for voluntary and involuntary. Now we want to look at these projections across some very important dimensions. First being gender. You can see here the breakout for involuntary projected, voluntary, and overall. By management level, same thing, involuntary, voluntary, and overall, managing director, executive director, et cetera. And by tenure, and also by cost distribution. So at a glance, probably looking at where there's a large projected number or a very large year-to-date number, and then drilling in, making the phone calls, taking corrective action. Okay? And then the next dashboard we're going to show would be the trend dashboard. And any good analytics system has a trending capability. HR is no different. In fact, trends are very important in HR to see improvements. So here we're first going to start off with a headcount trend by management level. We often see this. Let's say I want to just select one of these. I'll select Managing Director. And I can see that, well, this is, pretty flat. Let me look at individual contributor. And I can see that there's been an uptick recently. So maybe that's something worth looking into. Then one of the other reports that we see very, very often is a trend of headcount numbers by breakouts like employee versus consultant and by management level. So we often see that. So it's something, kind of a core report that we want to make sure we got in here. And we also calculate an average headcount and an average tenure. And then down here at the bottom, we're displaying the turnover details, same thing, from a trend, so that you can see across a time period in what months the terminations are occurring, and maybe to find a trend. And like we talked about, limiting the voluntary terminations, maybe if we see a trend emerging that people tend to leave clustered around a couple of different months, we can take some corrective action in the months preceding that. Okay. Now I'm going to, those are the HR Accelerator dashboards. Now I'm going to switch gears and go over into data visualization. Now, Oracle Analytics Cloud is a true analytics platform. It has multiple sub-products, so to speak, to it. So we just looked at dashboards and analysis. Now we're going to look at data visualization. So data visualization is an easy, intuitive way to interact with your data, to do ad hoc analysis, to create very advanced visualizations, and also to share, very easily share with your colleagues. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create right here a new visualization. First thing I'll do is select a subject area. Now these subject areas are the exact same subject areas that were just used for those dashboards that I showed you. These are the exact same subject areas. So I now have access through data visualization to the same enterprise data that I just used for all those dashboards. Now I could, we don't have any time here, but I could bring in some Excel data and use that for my analysis here. So you'll see that we find that there's really very little training required for this. It's really drag and drop. So I'm going to start off with headcount by location. I'm going to drag it into here. The data visualization is going to suggest to me what it thinks is the best visualization, in this case, a horizontal bar. I'm going to sort that very easily. And then I want a little color here, so I'm going to bring custom location into color. And then one of the things I love about this, if I want to change the visualization, I don't have to go into a complicated report design interface and all that. It's just one click away. So I just click. Now I've got a tree map. Very easy to see that Longer has a lot more people than Redwood City. Now let's say I want to drill in on Longer. I'm going to right-click and select Keep Selected. So that's now created a filter for me up here. So now it's just Longer. And maybe what I want to see is I want to see how we're doing employee versus contingent workers. So I'm going to bring in, go to worker assignment details and bring in the assignment type description. I'm going to replace the location because we know what the location is. I'm going to switch back to horizontal bar. And I can see here that we've got the breakout of employee versus contingent worker for Longer. Now let's say I also was interested in the relationship of headcount to termination count by location. And as headcount goes up, you would expect terminations to go up, but maybe there are some outliers. Maybe there's some locations where there are too many terminations and it's not proportional to the increase in headcount. So let's take a look. So the system is going to suggest for me, and it's suggesting a scatter plot. Now I have a filter up here. I'll just delete that filter. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to look across all locations. I'm going to switch headcount and termination. I like headcount to be the vertical axis. And I'm going to maximize this visualization. So now I can see here that some of the locations have a nice linear slope here, so they're proportionately increasing termination in respect to headcount. But I've got one outlier here where headcount has increased, but termination hasn't really, at least not in the proportion you would expect, and that's London. So they must be doing something correct in London. So I'm going to minimize this, and one of the other things we can do, and I'll just conclude with this, is we can narrate these. So we can close this off. We can say narrate, and we can bring a canvas down here and can say, you know, I can add a comment here. You know, I can say, you know, what is London doing right? And we can I can send that to my colleague. Send that to my colleague. I can say share this file. I can do PowerPoint or something else. I'll do PDF. And I'm going to save that, exporting as a PDF. And now I can easily send this to my colleague, and you know we can then have some dialogue around that. Okay. So I see that that is the end of the demo, and we're just out of time here. So I'm going to jump back to the PowerPoint very quickly and finish that off. So I've just shown you as our HR accelerator. Some of the key points that you want to remember would be fast time to value, very easy to integrate multiple HR systems, which is a key requirement for HR. Puts HR in a position to be responsive, be a strategic partner, and answer questions quickly, be much more proactive about managing the HR processes. Data visualizations and the dashboards comes with advanced visualization, and mobile is native. As we said, that just comes with OACS. On implementation, there is no charge for our HR accelerator. We do not charge for that. It's part of our service offering. So the intellectual property goes to the customer. If there is an interest, the customer would work with Oracle to license OAC and also Oracle Database as a service. And Apps Associates, as we mentioned, we're a preferred managed service provider, so we can provide support on an ongoing basis. Okay. And if you'd like to, you can contact me at that email, or you can contact Alak on the Oracle side. Okay, thanks, Julian and Alak. That's everything.
Great. Thank you, Miles. That was a terrific demonstration of the creativity and the real business insight that you can get from Oracle Analytic Cloud for HR. So we're right at the end of our time, but there is one question I'd like to cover. You'd mentioned, Miles, earlier on, that within just 2 to 3 weeks, people can start visualizing their own data using this accelerator. I'm sure that you know, it varies by the size and complexity of a customer's organization, but how long would a full project take to implement this throughout the whole organization?
Sure. For the full project for HR Accelerator, first of all, just quickly talk about what we would do. Those 2 to 3 weeks are just to get up and running in our core accelerator. We would have dialogue about anything that we would need to modify for the accelerator. We would understand maybe there's other data sources for which we don't have the pre-built accelerators, although we've covered most of the major ones. But generally speaking, if we were to pick an average, we tend to have customers in production after a full UAT and training at about 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay, that's great. Well, I'm afraid we don't have any time for any more questions today, but feel free to reach out to us at those email addresses. It's my pleasure to thank Miles and Alak for their great presentations today, and thank you all for attending. And this concludes our webinar for today. Thank you.